Hello, I'm Vanessa Ramirez. Let's take a look at your weekend traffic report for Friday, May 11th through Monday, May 14th. There are a few closures and restrictions that you're going to have to worry about this weekend. The first one is in Mesa. Loop 202 northbound is closed between Elliott and Guadalupe. They are installing some traffic and ADOT cameras in the area. This takes place Friday at 10 p.m. until Saturday at 9 a.m. So here's how you can get around that closure. Traffic exiting at Elliott Road can use northbound Ellsworth and westbound Guadalupe Road to get back to the Loop 202. All right, now we'll go to a different closure. The Loop 202 westbound is closed between Power and Higley Roads. Also, Loop 202 westbound on-ramps at Haas Road and State Route 24 are closed as well. This takes place Saturday at 10 p.m. until Sunday at 9 a.m. Now we're going to head over to the West Valley for a restriction this weekend. The I-10 westbound is narrowed to one lane between 43rd and 59th Avenues. This is all due to the Loop 202 freeway construction. Now, actually, this is going on for a few days. It's Sunday through Thursday nights from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So definitely allow yourself some extra travel time when you're heading out on that freeway during those evenings. If you want some more detailed information about what's going on with the restrictions and closures this weekend, just continue reading below.
Welcome back, everyone. 4:42. Where is Gerke going? The big reveal. Seattle.
I can hear the Nirvana in my head as I think about this, but as I say that, we've got the more classy music to play now.
We do, except when you look at Paul's shirt. Paul, let's see it.
You guys, it's Soundgarden. Nirvana, yes, also from Seattle. There are a lot of bands from Seattle. You know, Kenny G is actually from here, one of Joe's favorites. I know he likes the soft jazz tunes early in the morning to get some going. I'm not judging you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're live from Ferry Park. Look at this view. Seattle right behind me right now. A postcard view, as our executive producer Jeff describes it, by the way. So the city's all lit up right now. Seattle City Light is the public utility company that supplies about 90% of the power to Seattle. It's mostly hydroelectric. You saw me out on the ferry a little earlier. These people live and die by the water, quite literally. It's big business out here. Seattle actually has the largest houseboat population in the United States. And as for that ferry system, it's also the largest, bigger than New York City, for example. They bring in about 24.5 million customers every year, and we had a chance to talk to some of the people that take the ferry as part of their daily routine.
You just have to know what the ferry schedule is, and it's really convenient for us because we live within walking distance to the ferry terminal on Bainbridge Island, where we live. We both can walk to work once we get to the Seattle side, so it's extremely convenient.
I would take the bus. And sometimes, like, that should be a 15-minute drive. Taking the bus would take longer than the ferry. So if I can take the ferry and read a book, listen to a podcast, have a beer on the way home, I'd rather do that.
I think it's nice to just, like, relax while you're traveling. It's, like, a good way to just, like, calm before the game, usually.
Well, it beats the hell out of sitting in traffic on 405 bumper to bumper, you know. There's another one every 35 minutes. That's what I tell the folks in the toll booth. They like that. The ferry in front of me is full. I say, is there another one in a half hour? I'll read the paper and pop open my laptop and do a little work.
Yeah, I mean, I've like lived on Bainbridge my entire life, so it's like just the usual commute. And my friends in Seattle, they're like, you take a ferry to get here? And I'm like, yeah, what's the big deal? It's a freaking ferry. It's a big boat.
I think there are definitely more pros than cons, first of all. Some of the pros being, hey, you get a lot more personal space in a crowded bus. You can have a drink. You know, it's like a lounge. It's like social hour on the way home.
Just don't tell too many people about the pros, because we kind of like to keep it a little secret.
Got Joe Dana in for Paul Gerke, who right now is off on another Where's Gerke's Going mission.
That's right. So he packed up. He left yesterday after the newscast for a second Where's Gerke Going mission. And this morning, Paul is live from that top secret place. Hello once again, Paul.
Where you at?
Good morning, Joe and Emma. I'm in one of my favorite cities in the entire country, and I promise I'm not just laying it on thick. This is seriously one of my favorite spots. If you missed our reveal on a boat at 4:30, check it out. I'm in Seattle, Washington, the largest city in Washington State. You see the beautiful view behind me from up here in Ferry Park. You see the iconic Space Needle to my right. We'll get to that in just a second. But I want to drop a little factoid on you first. A ragtag group of settlers known as the Denny Party founded this place back in 1851, and they originally called it New York, as if that name wasn't already taken. They changed the name to Seattle after befriending a local Indian chief, and that name ended up sticking. Now back to the Space Needle for a minute. Everyone that's ever heard of Seattle knows about the Space Needle. It was the brainchild of Edward E. Carlson, who actually wasn't even an architect. He was just a businessman who sketched the concept on a cocktail napkin. And then they built this place in time for the World's Fair in 1962, and it has been a staple of Seattle culture ever since. It's not quite space, but it's as close as you'll find in Seattle. From the tower's 520-foot saucer-shaped top house, you'll get Seattle's only 360-degree indoor and outdoor panoramic view of Mount Rainier, the Puget Sound, the Cascades, and the Olympic mountain ranges. The Space Needle is currently being renovated. Phase 1 is due to be completed by the end of this month, which will further elevate the visitor experience.
Literally, there'd be nothing between you and Seattle but glass. And in the open-air observation deck, just you and glass. And we'll have glass benches affixed to the glass barriers. You kind of sit out over the hill and float over Seattle.
When you see the Space Needle, you can't help but think of this, the music you hear right here. Tossed salad and scrambled eggs, the theme from Frasier. Fun fact, they shot 11 seasons of Frasier. Only one episode was actually filmed here in Seattle. So it's a bit of a misnomer to associate this song with that Space Needle. The Space Needle, by the way, built in just 400 days, built to withstand winds of up to 200 miles per hour and a 9.1 magnitude earthquake, which is a good thing because seismologists predict that the Cascade Fault will produce a 9.0 or greater magnitude earthquake within the next 50 years out here. There's a 10 to 15% chance of that. That's uncomfortably high. Hopefully it's not anytime soon because we have a lot more to get to on the show today. Coming up a little later, we're going to show you why Seattle is the second largest glass-blowing city on the planet, second only to Venice, Italy. We're going to check out some of the wares and tell you where you can see them right there in Arizona. But for now, live from Ferry Park in beautiful Seattle, Washington, I'm Paul Gerke, and this is Where Gerke's Going. Welcome back to 12 Today, and welcome back to Seattle, Washington. It's not just a beautiful city, it's actually one of the most literate cities in the country. They estimate 80% of the people that live here in Seattle actually have a Seattle Public Library card. They love checking out books. They love culture too. Any public building that's built here in Seattle has to spend 1% of its budget on art. So that lends itself to a lot of really cool displays, not the least of which is the Dale Chihuly glass blowing exhibit. This guy is the biggest name in glass blowing. And before you laugh, it's actually big business out here. Seattle is the second largest per capita glass blowing place on the planet besides Venice, Italy. We had a chance to check out the Chihuly exhibit. Take a look.
Dale Chihuly is originally from Tacoma, Washington, which is about an hour south of Seattle. He is an artist who specializes in glass. He's really looked at as being responsible for the beginning of the studio glass movement in the United States. Before, it was, very structural pieces, very functional. Chihuly really took it and made it the contemporary glass that it is today. He's very inspired by the Pacific Northwest and everything that is, part of our region. We have a whole cafe full of his collections as well, and so he's very inspired by all of his collections and, really loves the aesthetics of them all. This really shows how water in the Pacific Northwest and the ocean inspires Chihuly. As you can see, it invokes the movement of the ocean, so it starts out darker down towards the bottom. With the pieces, it shows the movement of the water and it gets lighter up at the top. So this is the Persian ceiling. It's actually the only gallery in the exhibition with white walls, and this was done intentionally by Chihuly to really make you feel like you're fully immersed in the artwork. It has always been his dream to build a glass house that was specially made for his artwork, and so this is actually one of the largest suspended sculptures he's ever created. It has nearly 1,400 pieces. Chihuly has often said that he wants his work to appear in nature as if it really belongs there. So he worked closely with a garden designer on all of the plants and the flowers and the installations to make sure that it blended well together. And this too reflects his lifelong love and appreciation of gardens, stemming from growing up when his mother had a beautiful garden, and that's something that really inspires him, and you see play out in a lot of his exhibitions around the world.
Welcome live back out here to Seattle. The sun is coming up and the business day has started. You see one of the boats in the Puget Sound behind me right now. Back to the glass blowing exhibit for just a second. If the Chihuly exhibit actually interests you, you might not have to leave town to see it. It has been featured at the Phoenix Botanical Gardens before. There's a pretty good chance they're going to have some of his work back there again. So just go over to the Botanical Gardens and check it out. Tell him I sent you, and maybe they'll get his work back there a little sooner.
Yeah, what's going on, Paul?
Little food, and now we're going to play with some fire. Who doesn't like pyrotechnics early in the morning show? It seems like sometimes disasters can turn into good things. You know the Great Chicago Fire, when a cow knocked over a lantern in a barn and burned the whole city to the ground and they rebuilt it? That's kind of similar to what happened here in Seattle. Jimmy Q often jokes on the show, I wonder who was around back in 1800 to take this temperature. We're going to go way back to the 1800s. I don't know if Jimmy knows anybody that was alive back then. 1889, a hot glue accident actually burned most of the business district behind me to the ground, complete ash. But they decided to rebuild Seattle on top of the ashes. Instead of going somewhere else, they actually raised the city up about 22 feet so you can still go underneath and check out what's left of the old Seattle. And we did just that. Some tours show off Seattle's highlights, but this one prefers to show you the low ones. Real low.
Everyone, well, welcome to Beneath the Streets. I'm Terry Lynn, I'm your tour guide. Hi.
Terry Lynn Johnson is one of the guides for Beneath the Streets, a new underground tour that explores Seattle's history by looking at its covered past.
We explain the history of Seattle, how we started on a tide flat and literally raised the city up to its current level. So let's step out to the sidewalk, the original level.
Though underground tours in Seattle are nothing new, the sights in this one are.
These areas have not been seen by any tour groups before. We have one section that's been restored to like the 1890s. It looks like you're on a sidewalk and you feel like you're really outside of a building in the 1890s. So when you guys look up here, you can really see the construction of the modern sidewalks. Then there's another area where the space was restored recently, probably in the 1980s, but they didn't restore the sidewalks, so we see the original brick arches underneath. Skid Row, a practical logging term, not unique to Seattle.
Unlike similar tours, Beneath the Streets prides itself on keeping its tours on the smaller side.
We really focus on small groups. We want people to feel that they can take pictures and ask questions and we can answer them. Just turn right at the bar and I'll meet you guys under the skylights. And then in the final spot, we see skylights that illuminate the underground sidewalk, and they still have prism glass attached. And it's hard to find prism glass skylights that are still functional, and they're beautiful. It's my favorite spot.
So while it may be nice not to be left in the dark, Terry Lynn hopes that Beneath the Streets will leave visitors a little more enlightened.
We just have tons of great stories and information that we love to share.
Welcome back to Seattle, one of the most beautiful places in the country, rain or shine. But no matter what Mother Nature throws at you, the #1 land and water tour in the city will take you where you need to go, courtesy our tour guide,
Helicopter.
Is that your real name?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have time to check the birth certificate. Let's get on the boat.
We are going to quack as loud as we can. 1, 2, and 3. Music to my ears.
I didn't realize there would be this much singing on the tour. many times do you think you've done this tour?
Oh my goodness, I've been here for 10 years, so it's in the thousands.
You ever get sick of it?
Never.
What's your favorite part about the tour?
This part right here, the water. Going into the water every time. I never get tired of it.
In the summertime, we do 5 tours a day. A part of our job is going out, exploring Seattle, finding new cool things to do, and sharing that with our guests.
What's your favorite part about giving these tours?
Definitely meeting the people. I get to meet new people every day.
People come from all over the world to ride these duck tours, including Arizona. What's your name and where are you from?
Stacy from Mesa.
What brought you to Seattle?
My friends, and then I come visit my grandma every year.
How do you like riding the ducks?
I love it. It's great.
A little better than 100 degrees?
For sure. I left that this morning.
Now that Duck 12 is back on dry land, it's time to check out another one of the Emerald City's must-sees. And it just so happens to be right across the street. Let's waddle on over to the Museum of Pop Culture.
We have the items from Wizard of Oz. Over here we have Dorothy's dress.
Who's my favorite? Oh, good question. Human Torch.
Tough question. I guess Iron Man. The technology and innovation. Cool, and he's very cynical person.
But I like when they bring like the female one, like Wonder Woman, and she's a great inspiration.
Here we are at our Nirvana exhibit. Nirvana exploded on the music scene in early 1991 with the hit Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it was just crazy from there. We've got some high school stuff over here. For Kurt Cobain, he was quite the artist. He designed a lot of the posters in the early days himself, and he drew this one. Right down here is part of the first guitar that Kurt ever busted on stage. We've got a lot of personal photos, which are really great. This is Dave Grohl's Tama Rockstar kit, and you can tell it's very beat up. He liked to destroy instruments as well. Now, since we opened, we've always had some type of Jimi Hendrix exhibit. He lived out of suitcases. As you can see, we have several of those here, along with a couple outfits. He had amazing style. You can see on this map here, all of the dots represent different places that Jimmy has visited and played. You can see the huge concentration over in Europe. That is his original passport in the glass. One of the most famous guitars in the world right here. That's about all I have to show you today at the Museum of Pop Culture. Thanks for visiting.
As you saw at Mopop, Seattle has a thriving music scene. They have for decades. And many of the biggest acts to come through here cut their teeth at the Crocodile. Tell me about some of the bands that have come through these doors. Like, what bands that people would know have played here?
Well, pretty much all the old school grunge bands back in the early times of the Crocodile, which opened in 1991. The local scene was really thriving then, and there wasn't as much competition as there is now. Pearl Jam, Nirvana. It was just timing. It was just the development of music at that time.
What do you think it is about Seattle that makes it such a hotbed for music?
It's gray, you know, a good part of the year. It gives you something to do. Lots of great local bands. I used to tour, so I would tour with some of the local bands. The Blood Brothers, which was a big part of my life. I spent a lot of time on the road with them. I've toured with Mudhoney, which are still a great local band that has been here since back in the day.
You know, Nirvana counts Mudhoney as one of their inspirations. Do you think that Mudhoney was on the cusp of what became the grunge scene in Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, they were part of all the local bands that were here at that point in time. You know, they were all playing together and in bands together.
From crocodiles to fish, we like to keep it aquatic when we're hanging out in a port city.
Well, now you know. The guy is in Seattle, where Wanna Grab Starbucks became a permanent part of many people's lives.
Team 12's Paul Gerke joining us now from that location that really launched a coffee phenomenon.
It really did, guys. If the question is where is Gerke going, Gerke's going to get a cup of coffee, because without that, I am useless on 12 today. And what better place to go check it out than the very first Starbucks here on Pike Place between Stewart and Virginia. This is it. Store number 1. This is where what is now the largest coffee chain on the planet got its humble start. From a humble start to a major development in Starbucks. In fact, we got the chance to check out one of their new roaster locations. It's an enormous complex that changes the way that people experience their morning cup of coffee. Check it out.
Back in 1971, Starbucks opened its first coffee shop in downtown Seattle on Pike Street. Nearly half a century later, and a mile down Broadway, Starbucks is almost ready to unveil its future. A new kind of store, wrapped up and secret. Until now. That's Liz Mueller, the Starbucks global design guru, and we're about to taste her brand new brew.
We created this very unique space, and I wanted them to be amazed.
Amazed we are. This is not your typical airport Starbucks. On your right, coffee and contraptions for sale. On your left, a pastry counter and a coffee bar. All around, machines and manufacturing, beans and baristas, tasting and touching on 2 levels. Seattle, meet your new roastery. One Starbucks hoping to stand out from the 21,000 other Starbucks.
We are not a cookie cutter, we are not a mass production, because there are so many Starbuckses, and that's why I think this takes from our history that really will inform the future.
Liz says the future of Starbucks is not in the cup of coffee, it's in the experience.
There goes the green beans.
A journey in which a bean grows on a real coffee plant and travels through tubes and tunnels to a real roaster.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, you're gonna see it. And this is really magical, because you see the beautiful steam, and you see the coffee color come out. There it is. Oh man. See how gorgeous?
Oh wow.
Isn't that gorgeous?
A shimmering jewel. Industrial meets digital. Straight to your cup. A one-of-a-kind brew, a one-of-a-kind store.
I can almost taste it. What's a morning cup of coffee without a little breakfast? Coming up in just a few minutes here on 12 today, we're going to take you to Lowell's, a breakfast staple right here in Pike Place. I guess it offers a gorgeous view of not only the market, but out over the water as well.
Welcome back, everyone, to 12 Today, where all week we have asked, where is Gerke going? The answer, Seattle.
Where one almost classy restaurant has been a staple for hungry people visiting the public market. Right, Paul?
Good morning, guys. We walked in here just a second ago, and we were offered lattes as soon as we walked in the door. So you know this place is legit. We're inside of Lowell's. Check out the view from this place. We're joined now live by Mark Monroe, one of the co-owners of Lowell's. How long have you been here, Mark?
I came in 20 years ago, moved up here from Southern California, and never looked back. This place is incredible.
What do you love about your location?
Every day is a new day with different weather, we're in the lee side of the Olympic rainforest, so you'll have fog, you'll have rain, you'll have sun, all in the same day. Just comes and goes, it's beautiful.
So what makes Lowell's the place to be for hungry people starting their mornings in Seattle?
Every morning, 5 a.m., we pick fish 2 doors down from Pure Food, fillet it, pin bone it, portion it, and it's on the grill 3 hours later. So if you want fresh fish, it's here. We're in the market, spices, we walk across to Lena's. We've got just anything is at our fingertips. It's an operating, functional market.
So you know a lot about Pike Place Market. How long have you been down here and had a chance to witness, you know, the way that this place functions? Because it's almost like a little city in and of itself. What makes it so cool?
It is. It's a microcosm of life, the diversity of ethnicities from everywhere. I've watched kids that work for me now that were 2 years old when I took over. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. It's amazing. The best part of being here is you'll say hello to people, and there was someone that you didn't haven't bumped into in 15 years, but they still know your name, and everybody knows everyone. It's like island living in the middle of a city.
Well, everyone watching back in Phoenix, Arizona right now that wants to come out here and check this place out, where are some of the hidden gems that they might not see on the tour guide websites?
In Pike Place Market, it goes down 7 floors, it goes diagonal up Post Alley, back and forth. The Alibi Room, which is down the stairs from the Pike Place Market by the gum wall, which is covered with gum, is a great little hidden gem of a place to have a drink or a bite. Of course, we look like a little 7-table diner, but we have 3 floors overlooking the water, not to dwell on us. Up in Post Alley, the other direction is the Pink Door, which is it's renowned for just live acts and shows going through there, and a great Italian restaurant. There's the Can Room, which is underneath the sidewalk at one corner of the market, and it's burlesque and it's craziness. It's just, there's little things everywhere, and you can't see it in a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It's a great pit stop to find everything.
Welcome back to 12 Today. Where's Gerke going? Well, he's on an entertainment adventure in Seattle.
Yes, and his adventure is about to get a bit cheesy, Paul. You like that pun?
You know, you're always good for a good pun, Emma. This is also an adventure in weird camera angles. This is like when you open Snapchat and the rear camera's facing you, so you get like the under chin. Not flattering, but this place certainly is. We're back at Pike Place Market right now. We went from smelling that fresh roasted coffee to smelling fish. And so we're going to take a couple steps in this direction where we'll be able to smell some cheese. We're live right now outside of Beechers Cheese, which is a staple here since it was founded in 2003. Our director, Chrissy, told me you absolutely have to try the cheese curds. They're making them through this window right now. That's what cheese looks like. Usually you guys are hungry on the morning show. I don't know what a huge vat of that liquid makes you feel like. I don't know if hungry is the answer, but maybe after you see what they do inside this shop, you'll change your mind.
Back in 2003, Kurt Beecher Dammeyer, the owner of our company, wanted to open up a shop that showed complete transparency in the food making process. It's not too much better of a way to do that than giant glass windows down in the heart of downtown Seattle. We are best known for our mac and cheese, which got a lot of publicity via Oprah and Martha Stewart. It was on Oprah's list of favorite things. From there, things just kind of took off.
First time trying it, it's really, really good.
It's good. It's great. Really good. It's really creamy. It's like really cheesy, like super cheesy.
Well, I heard about it when I was at a conference, and so somebody had told me about it, and I thought, oh, I have to try that out.
Hold its texture too. It doesn't really break down.
Also first timer, yeah. Yeah, came highly recommended, and it meets the expectations.
It's really good.
Thousands of people coming through every day, people from all over the world. We'll have people from Japan coming through with a magazine and then pointing to a picture of our mac and cheese to order that. As big of a tourist destination as Pike Place is, open transparency of our cheese making process, which most people would have never gotten a chance to see that in their lifetimes in the day and age that we live in. It's such a commodity, a very cool thing. I grew up here in Seattle. I've been coming here since this store opened, but this is a staple in the food industry. Is this the original? This is the original store. This is our flagship store, yeah.
This one reminded me of like cheddar cheese more, but this one's kind of a weird texture, but I still like it.
We will have about 12 to 15 of our cheeses. Marco Polo Reserve is the cheese I was saying won first place, best flavored cheddar in the country last year. Flagship Reserve, which is our signature cheese, just cloth-bound, open air in a wheel, that more traditional method I was talking about, won first place best cloth-bound cheddar in the country this year.
As if Starbucks and Beechers weren't enough staples for you guys if you ever make your way out to Seattle, we've got one more absolute necessity, and it involves packing a stick of gum. I'm gonna pop this in, and I'm gonna take you over to the gum wall. Oh, sorry, are we live? Welcome back to Seattle, everybody. This is one of the germiest places in the world, believe it or not. This is the Market Theater gum wall. Check this out. This is all chewing gum. ABC, already been chewed. It is a staple in downtown Seattle. We're in Post Alley right now, which is under Pike Place Market. It's kind of similar to Bubblegum Alley and out in California. These walls here, 15 feet high of gum. all gum. And actually, this place has been cleaned relatively recently. Back in 2015, the Pike Place Market Preservation and Development Authority said, okay, enough's enough. After 20 years of people sticking their gum on these walls, they gave it a total scrub down for maintenance and steam cleaning so that the bricks here wouldn't be eroded by the sugar and the chewing gum. They ended up removing 2,350 pounds of gum from these walls. It took 130 hours worth of power washing to get this place cleaned. And in less than 3 years, there was already this much gum hanging out here on the walls. It is an absolute must-see for any tourists that are coming through Seattle and need to stop by and leave a little piece of themselves for the next ones to come through. As you can see here, people get a little creative with the way that they put gum. Some people like the dangling approach, which is very artistic in a city that loves and appreciates art. We also have what appear to be some bumper stickers that are kind of stuck here by use of the gum. Some people over here, if you want to follow me, Nick, even spell out their names in gum. I guess that's better than carving it into a tree or something like that. This is an absolutely sickening place to be if you have any sort of fear of germs. It stretches all the way down here to where that guy is getting his morning jog in right now. Hopefully he's not going to stick any gum on the wall. But you know what, guys? Since we're here, I feel like we should leave a little piece of us behind, too. Just a second. Where should we put it, guys?
Oh,
it's
dear.
Like right here-ish?
Yeah. Then I can see it next time I go and visit.
Got the gum.
Got the gum.
And we got the 12 News card, so they know exactly where to find us.
There you go.
It's a great idea.
There we go.
Oh.
12 News, a Tegna company, now a staple on the gum wall here in Seattle. Guys, we've got one more really cool shot left before I end this mission here in Seattle, and it involves a wardrobe change. Coming up, it's time to pull up the suspenders and toss some fish.
This has been one of the most epic mornings here on 12 Today with Where's Gerke Going? We have seen every ounce of Seattle.
Yeah, so he's now really at what you could say is the most iconic place as far as what Seattle's known for, because they're right there on the ocean. Paul, let's see it.
We saved the best for last, guys. We're still here at Pike Place Market at the fish market, where they're bringing in a whole bunch of fresh fish as we speak. The biggest fish of them all, my buddy Ryan hanging out down here. Hey, all right, man, how long have you been working here?
This is my 14th year at Pike Place Fish.
So you know the lay of the land.
I definitely have this part of the market down for sure.
What makes this the most iconic Seattle destination?
I mean, just the energy we have every day is pretty inspiring. I mean, people come around from all over the world. I think they're up in 20 million people come through the market a year, and a large percentage of those people just come to watch us work. So whether or not they're buying or anything, people are entertained by just like the way that we work and we are with the people.
Okay, so I see you guys setting up right now. What are you doing?
Right now we've got, we take all the ice in the morning, and we have a giant ice machine that's in that cooler right there. And it comes down from the ceiling, and we basically resurface the ice every single day. We put up brand new ice, and then we pull out new inventory of seafood, and then we put all the fish up. And we build these giant, huge displays that we sell throughout the day and then fill back up so it always looks abundant.
Okay, so what kind of fish are we talking about here? I see some of the unfortunate fellas that are headless right here.
They're beautiful to me, so. These are the local king salmon right here. And these are hook and line caught off the Washington coast. You can see they're all pretty if you look in the bellies there. So every day we sell, in the summertime, we sell a couple thousand pounds of these guys a day, so. And then over here we have some frozen salmon from British Columbia that we sell every day as well too. So at this fish market, we're super lucky. We get to sell all wild salmon year round. So, you know.
Okay, you've caught a fish or two in your day, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be the first time for me. I need some pointers.
Okay, so when we sell a fish, we throw it over the counter up there. If you can see, there's only 2 scales up there. And when it's super busy like that, like when the crowds are out here, it's really hard to grab a fish and walk through like 500 people and say, excuse me, 97 times. When you walk back and then you find out you grabbed an 18-pound fish instead of like a 15-pound fish, then you got to do it again. So basically what we started doing is we started just yelling it out and then throwing it over the counter. It saves you a whole bunch of time. So we're going to have you go up there and we're going to show you how we get fish across the counter. So
all right, let's do it, man.
You're going to catch one of these cohos right here because I think they need to cut a couple for the window. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to do it out here. And then we'll send you up there while you're setting up, and then we'll throw it to you up there and we'll see if you got it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, cool. So, are you gonna do this one-handed?
No, I'm not.
Right,
Jeff, you want to take the microphone here?
All right. So, if you pinch it in your hands, right? You want to pinch it, don't hug it, okay? Do not try to spoon the salmon, all right? So, it's gonna come in, you're gonna be up behind the counter sideways, and if you pinch it kind of like like you're an eagle, you know. So here's
Just imagine I'm an eagle.
Yeah,
That's
totally,
the key. Got
totally.
it.
Just
All right.
normal work stuff. So just like that, right?
All right. All right.
All right. So if you hug that thing, it's gonna be all over your rad
Okay.
shirt right there.
I appreciate him saying the shirt was rad. I think it's pretty rad too. All right, we're running out of time. Let's do this.
Gotta go up there. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is a process. I thought it was like just some fun, cool thing that people could do. But no, this is part of their
it's
process.
Probably good he didn't tell him that Paul's been handling used chewing gum previously. So we keep that out of
Right.
it. One thing's to be somewhat cemetery.
Listen, we're gonna have
All
a
right,
big
here he
fish
goes.
fry when he gets back to
All right,
club
baby,
today.
here we go. I'm already greasy with fish. I'm
Oh.
slimy right now.
All right.
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. Do you have like magic words?
Oh yeah. We're gonna yell. What's your name again?
Paul.
All right, Paul.
Here we go.
Turn sideways, Paul. Like a
Right here. I'm gonna pinch it like an eagle.
Like an eagle.
Yes,
Come on, Paul. Oh, he did it! Yes! He got it!
First time, baby.
First time!
Ready?
His eagle-like reflexes.
Ready? Ready?
Oh, he says underneath.
TT for Ryan.
Yes!
There we go.
The guy is a natural. Paul Gerke killing it over in Seattle. Paul, you are fabulous. It's been such a fun morning.